The next item, 5D on the agenda, is the third Friday of January enrollment count and the 2012-2013 district-free reduced lunch percentages.
You're doing it or am I?
I think you've got it up there, so. I'll get mine on the TV based on what you...
All right, I'm just, I had to get my bearings. Have in the packet an updated version of the handout that was put in here today, and I guess I'd like to have you look at two different columns to start with. And one is this is enrollment by year, 2013, 2012, and then you'll see a difference between each of those over here. The column that's not highlighted or bold is the September third Friday count. And then the column underneath it is the second Friday count in January. So you'll be able to, at the end, make comparisons down at the top. But you can see when we compare the number of students that we had at, this would be LaGrange Elementary School over there on the left. Compared to last year at this time, we are down 42 students. And you can go through and take a look at the different numbers. And we knew that was coming based on what was happening out at Fort McCoy, the transition of the different units out there. But I think it kind of puts it a little bit in perspective. 42 students from January to January is a significant number that we have to pay attention to. And of course, you had 19 compared to the third Friday counts, which is a bigger number. Of course, that sets our revenue limit. So we hope to see that kind of trend reverse there, or at least at the very least have bottomed out, so that next year when we get that third Friday. And I wouldn't put a lot into January counts, just simply if I would have looked at it this time last year, you would have seen an increase. So you just don't know what you're getting when you're looking at those different counts. The last area I'd have you look at then is just a comparison of the different grade levels of the changes from September to January as we go across. And then also you will see then the changes from 2012 September to 2013, and then again 2012 to 2013. Then overall in the district, third Friday count, we're down 29 students. And when we look at the difference between third Friday and the second Friday in January, this current year we have lost 34 students, with the majority of them probably happening at LaGrange Elementary School. If we take a look at those various numbers. So,
and again, those numbers are different today than when this was determined in the second count of January, because there have been kids that have enrolled, correct?
These numbers are the second January count numbers.
Right, but since the second Friday in January,
the numbers
we
have
have
changed.
had
You'll have kids
students
coming and
enrolled.
going. So,
yeah.
I look more for is what kind of patterns are we looking at here, and really primarily when we're looking at things, we're looking at that third Friday count. January is another date that they have us count kids to, and what they do is they typically combine the third Friday and the second January count to determine how much state aid you get, and then add on summer school, and that gives you your enrollment for state aid purposes.
And I should mention that the agenda is, I made an error on the agenda. I put third Friday enrollment in January. It's the second Friday enrollment in January. It's the third Friday in September. So just to note that that is in there. I apologize for that.
And I think this last handout that you're seeing is just changes in your free and reduce and what that means. And it looks like overall at the different buildings we're seeing, you know, some increases, overall quite a few increases with a few decreases intermixed there, but I think overall you can see the trend drop from 40% 2011 to 44% 2012. And you can look at those numbers. K8, it's at average 39, and then K5, 42. And then right below that, it just, I thought there was a graph on this. That might be on the next page. And you just kind of take a look at a graph historically of what it's doing across the district. You can see down by the buildings, but again, the trend from 2003 is for those numbers to continue to increase. And the thing I think that we keep in mind when you're looking at the free and reduced numbers are, when you start looking at at-risk characteristics of kids in your schools, it's just another characteristic that you have to be paying attention to is just one more factor that puts kids at risk to failing. So, and you combine them with the other risk factors that are out there, this can be one of the more telling items that we need to be paying attention to, and what services we kind of need to be offering kids. So, questions?
How does that impact funding, if at all, from either the state or the federal?
Well, on the federal level, on the state level, it only will help us a little bit in our free and reduced numbers in food service and Fund 50. At the federal level, though, Title I dollars were determined off of your free and reduced numbers, but Barb, correct me, it's been 2010, was that when they don't update these numbers every year for federal funding. I think it's like every 5 years that we update these numbers, so we're kind of stuck until we hit the next update with them. So, and of course, federal funding has been continuing to go down, so you know, the more we have, I mean, it's a catch-22. The more funding you get, the more needs you need to serve, so it'd be nice to see those numbers actually go down and down, obviously, for a lot of reasons.
Okay.
Questions?
The high school is, you know, one of the lowest ones, and do you think that's accurate, or is that?
No, I don't think it's accurate.
Students just don't.
Middle school and high school are very difficult buildings. There's a lot of things we could do that are maybe a little bit controversial, you know, making a better effort to at least get parents to qualify for free and reduced, but I think in the Toma district, we've kind of left that up to the parents to make that decision. You know, some people would say, I don't know that it's ethical to actively seek people to get on free and reduced counts, although, you know, the flip side of that is if they're not, we are losing federal dollars that will go to somebody else. So again, it's kind of a catch-22.
Do some other school districts do something that compels them to turn in information?
I've heard other schools require, not that they can require them, but require all parents to fill out that free and reduced form as much as possible to actively pursue those parents to get those documents at hand.
And that has not been our practice.
No.
We just send something out.
Home, and then it's up to the parents to take advantage of the program.
I think it explains the significance maybe in the documentation that we send, the importance of that information, don't we?
Yes, we encourage people to fill out the papers. And for the primary reason that if they're eligible, take advantage of the program, make sure they're, you know, to help get their kids meals. But there is that stigmatism, you know, the older the kids get, that they just don't want anything to do with that, which is understandable.
Is there anything at school when they're going to lunch that would
Jesse's incorporated a lot of those things.
distinguish one person from another in terms of...
The difference is that you can't use, quite certain of this. David Hayes gone. You can't use the free and reduced for the a la carte. I believe it's just for the meal. So that in itself creates some issues.
And then to get the meal as free or reduced, you have to take all of those components that are required. And so, kids may not want to do that because that
It's been a concerted effort over the years to make that as
inconspicuous as
possible. Thank you for that large word that I would have struggled mightily with tonight.
I guess that's what I was getting at. Is there something that, as a child goes through the lunchroom, you could tell who's getting?
There's no red flags that are going to stick up at this time.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Next item.